With Mr. Review, we spring into action with breaking reviews. Well, when you talk about voting, you have to talk about turnout. Who actually votes? And the story, folks, is it's rather pathetic, according to Mr. Review. Our turnout is relatively low. Do you realize in presidential elections, we're lucky if we get 55% of eligible voters? Well, what are some of the predictors of who votes? Certainly we look at those demographics. We look at your religion, your gender, your income, your education. We look at where you live, what regions, urban or suburban. These can be predictors. We know the young tend not to vote. The older vote. We know that the less educated are less likely to vote, but the more educated are more likely to vote. We know that higher incomes are more likely to vote and the lower incomes less likely to vote. These are demographic predictors. So if I'm running for political office, I'm looking at not only can I make sure to get those people out to vote who normally do, but I also want to get out those that maybe rarely get out and vote. Prospective voters, perhaps. There are also differences, as you know, between national and state laws that dictate who votes and who doesn't. We've got those big constitutional amendments that guarantee certain voting rights, but then the states can bring in their own rights and regulations. Remember, the Constitution initially gave states primacy over election laws. And so states have various registration laws. Some states have voter ID laws. States can differ as to early voting or you can only vote on election day. Much of this is determined by partisanship. We like to think that, or at least political science suggests, that Democrats, liberals want to make voting easier. They want to make as sure as many people come to vote as possible. It's not that the Republicans and the conservatives don't want that, but they don't want fraud. They don't want our elections to become a mockery. So they are a little bit more interested in, show me an ID. Make sure you're registered in advance. These are some of the voting turnout predictors. Of course, presidential elections, we see our highest turnout. Midterm elections, we're lucky to get 30% in the midterm elections, let alone in our primary elections. Oh boy. We need to work on our turnout. But remember, party ID still is the number one determinant of who we vote for and whether or not we turn out. If we are the activists, the base members of a party, we're more likely to turn out. If we're kind of squishy, cum sa, we're less likely to vote. I would say here in America, Mr. Review says, we have a turnout problem. Too much turning in, a little bit more need for turning out. Oh, spring break, we're springing into action, breaking reviews.